Hi, today the first video I want to talk about the cost of kits, but it's a little bit difficult comparing the 70s and 80s to today because so many factors played into it. But going to the shop, that's sort of what was available. The ranges, Matchbox, Airfix, a little bit of Hella, differed from country to country, of course. And you sort of had the blister packs, and you had these, and then you had a little bit bigger boxes. But there was a very good entry into the hobby. And I think it was pretty affordable. Now, that's from the point of view of a kid getting pocket money, a very sedate pocket money, in a country where the exchange rate at that time, I guess, was comparable to England, so which changed dramatically after that. But on average, I was able to afford one of these per month. And this was a very good sort of level of kit. Not difficult, not the simplest. Now, this one today, I think, is a very, very good equivalent. It is of the simplest because it contains, it's new tooling, so it's not just a repackaging of old. It's I've taken the upper wings off, and the clear parts are still in there. But a very, very nice model without being overcomplicated. So that, I would say, is a very, very good entry level, and I think that would be fairly affordable today. But how many of these are there? How many of these equivalents? I think, this, do they even list these as skill level? Yes, it is listed as skill level 1, which is great. And of course, all of the single engine fighters and all of those sort of things all fit into the same category. I'm not sure what these cost in the shop at the moment, and I don't know how comparable that is to what we were paying in the 70s and 80s. Give your comments on how comparable this entry-level price is. I would say it's probably good, but after this, things start changing. So this is the equivalent of that, sort of. So this would be, a next level, a little bit of a more complicated one, but same box size. And I'm sure most of you know what you got in this Blenheim box. It was more than a single engine fighter, but it wasn't too bad. I know this particular kit wasn't the easiest to build compared to now I've de-sprued this, but that is a lot of parts. That is a huge lot of parts. So value for money wise, in how much more this one costs, I guess is okay, but it's, what do they list this one as? Is this a level 2? Yes, skill level 2. That's quite a big jump. That's, I'm almost thinking it's too much of a jump. Now, I previously said that Airfix might be missing an opportunity on marketing the more part-heavy kits in a simpler format, since they already have almost all of what they need there. And then I pondered, but what about, you'd have to get your molds right. Would they need an extra mold to mold the simpler version? Well, not if they planned it carefully and said, well, okay, you get sprues 1 and 2 on the simpler version of the kit, because imagine this quality but in that size box. So you'd get sort of what you got here, maybe a few more parts, but you'd have a really great level 2 kit for current day standards and include a third sprue with all of the extras in the sort of skill level 2 kit if you want. I do actually feel like they're missing an opportunity there. So this one wouldn't need that, because this is a pretty simple kit. It's a very nice kit, and I would rate it 10 out of 10 for building a guy coming into the hobby and building a simple kit. I mean, I would enjoy building it now, and I will. And you could do the same with this, but currently this one is about 3 times more work than that. And of course I like it, because I mean, I'm not a beginner modeler, but I feel like they are missing that gap for providing so much more to modelers that don't want to go over the top on, you know, so many parts. I don't know if there's a part count on this one on the outside of the box. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think what Airfix has done is really, really nice, but they could even do better by offering variations of boxing. Okay, now apart from that, now moving on above that, I think kits are very expensive. I said in previous videos that I hardly buy from the shop. I do occasionally, of course. I mean, I've held up many new models for you, but I certainly don't buy as many new models as what I do second-hand models. I think the price of new kits is out of comparison to what one might expect from the viewpoint of someone coming out of the 70s and 80s, which of course then will get the response, yes, well, you know, that's sort of the old man view, you know, you're holding on to that era that you grew up in. So I'm interested to hear your comments. Is there an affordable path in the hobby? Which I guess you could say some manufacturers offer better prices on kits. But if I walk into the hobby shop and I just on average look around, I'm sort of feeling it's expensive. And I, you know, how many kits are like that, or like that? You know, one rack, not even one rack. Differs from hobby shop to hobby shop, but so your choices as a kid, I think, are limited. On the other hand, the number of kids is limited. There's just not that many kids coming into it. So maybe it all just balances out in the end because the market isn't there. I don't know. The bigger models which I buy, and the motorbikes and so on, I probably actually am overspending on certain kits, and there is a cheaper pathway. I've often said to look at swap meets and things like that. There's certainly the cheap pathway to keep you very, very busy, depending on what sort of access you have to those things. But if you were relying only on internet and hobby shop, it can get pretty expensive. You know, I see prices on, not quite this one, but F16, F15, F14. I see prices on 1/72 kits that are just so expensive. There is obviously a range. You can buy slightly cheaper ones, slightly more expensive ones, but I do feel like it's just pretty over the top on pricing. That being said, I am thinking more and more that Airfix is the company which I take my hat off to the most. They're not getting everything right, but I think they're getting more right than any other company at the moment, except possibly Tamiya. But they're in a little bit of a different category than Tamiya. So let's say Tamiya and Airfix. I'd rate them both equally high. you know, a lot of people have said, yeah, but you know, these older kits, you know, really bad quality. So if you want to talk about a cheaper path, yeah, well then you're building really junk kits. But there are much better quality than these still available at the swap meets for pretty good prices. You know, 90s Academy, you can get stuff with recessed panel lines, very nice kits. I do agree that many of these older kits might be nice for some of us to build, but they can be pretty annoying in their difficulties and mold problems and fit problems. And in the next video I will talk about some of that. Okay, so give your comments on the pricing. I think overall I'm going to have to say I think the hobby is expensive.